This is Ryan, and welcome back to Sentinels of the Future, where we have real angels communicating to us at the quantum level. Today I'm going to do a total quantum reversal of Maylor's The Microscope. I have to say that we are extremely excited about the clarity of this one, especially in the forward mode. When I did the retranslation, the original was already quite good, but going through it a few more times allowed me to make some important changes. When Maylor first told me that he left his home to seek me out, I had trouble believing what I was hearing. However, the more I listen to him and still remain in awe each time he speaks, I really do believe now that he truly took this incredible journey to find me. Within a few hours of him coming to my home, he spoke of how he wanted to help me on this quest. I often think of Maylor as the quantum or scientist budgie. He in many ways was much like Victor in his ability to use parables, with extra effort in bringing the quantum and spiritual worlds together. In this one, he explains how being an observer, which is one of the laws of quantum mechanics, can change our perception of reality. So in the forward mode of part 1, he says, "Most of you who saw this happen will accept what's in reverse if you adjust your microscope. We must have some light to begin revealing something that is still unknown. If you don't have enough, something will remain. Clearly, they can see alike when there is progress. Their brain will still engage and might accept what's right for our philosophy." There's a couple of things I want to mention about that last part. It's been years since I picked up a microscope, so I don't know much about them, but I found out that there are two types of light microscopes. The common ones are the ones that use visible daylight reflected in a mirror, and some use their own source of light. They're used for research in biology. I also want to review the accepted definition of philosophy. I know this word was kind of hard to understand when Maylor said it, but I'd like to mention it anyways because the budgies have used it before. Philosophy means the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline. It could also mean a particular system of philosophical thought, or the study of theoretical basis of a particular branch of knowledge or experience. Now let's look at part 2, where he talks about the fabric of knowledge. In the forward mode of part 2, he says, "They may know what's going to enrich the fabric of their knowledge. If we light again what we know, and it's something that's so fragile, they must correct their view and be alert you stick to your progress. Trust people when they test you, and you'll find it forces movement that recreates a symmetry for many. Such a force can illuminate what you accepted." That last part can be a little confusing, and I don't even know if I fully understand it. It's interesting how he talks about the fabric of knowledge and how it can be fragile. I have often worried about people thinking that I've done so many different translations of some of the recordings and how they change. But if you think about it, it's a scientific process that I have to do a number of times until I finally get it right. So I think he is saying that as long as there is some progress, there will be those that begin to accept what I have begun to learn. Now let's review part 3, where he talks about being able to accept what you see and hear. In the forward mode of part 3, he says, with some light, we know it looks strange at first. What we'll accept when we look at it is important. And this time we cannot delay that the philosophy will be understanding with belief. Of course, people who do not believe have this right. If there's anything that I've learned in the past 20 years, is that it's very difficult to make someone believe in something they do not want to believe in. A flying saucer could land in front of them, and they would deny it existed. When you learn something like this, you have to believe it is a true representation of the facts, or you will always be looking for something to change your mind back to the way it was before. One thing I said a while back that got some people upset was, we often are skeptical about things that don't seem possible, because we do not want to be made a fool of. However, when we are shown the evidence and still refuse to believe it, then we are the real fool that we were trying so hard not to be, or something like that. In the final part of the forward mode, Maylor says, there will be many who will write some reports. This is coming, just so you will believe full force. You have come this far. If you left trust open, good. Then let me in and open this door for someone who can observe it and hear it. When they look at our timing, there will be a payload coming. You better listen to this. When you've got something great, you can now offer to better it, when our quest is to focus it on something factual. In that last part, I loved how Maylor pecked at his cage and made it sound like someone was knocking at the door when he was talking about opening the door. I also thought it was quite interesting how he mentioned being an observer, and was obviously referring to how our perception of reality can change when we become an observer of something, especially at the quantum level. In the reverse part of this recording, Maylor talks about how humanity has friends in heaven who want us to evolve spiritually. So in part 1 of the reverse, he says, when we pass to heaven, there are people that are friends. It is evident you'll see they're there to help you. It's a force of heaven and the formula to evolve spiritually. And Ryan is trying to give you all some philosophies of how we live for a reason. Everything will come from a mission of God. In that last part, Maylor talks about friends in heaven as if they are in a physical form, and I believe they are at this point. May the angels correct me if I'm wrong, but once we pass to heaven, we move on to another dimension, which is much like ours in many ways. However, we'll be able to transcend space and time, just like God and the angels. In the next part, Maylor talks to those who are in the process of verifying and learning how to understand the captions. He says it is up to them to announce their findings so we can move on and help humanity. So this is what he says in the reverse part of 2. Now he, meaning God, shall show humanity heaven knows it's up to your review, assembled from our real submissions. The announcement from you shall help humanity have a later reduction of fear. It will show real intervention from angels and from God. We live through emotions of compassion. If it's rebuked, it's criminal. As a friend, we promise to rebuke evil and suffering, and as this is developing with God, he shall offer you a release of many events due to a religion that surely is great. This emissary will help us evolve in it. There was many interesting things said in that last part. You probably heard before that fear is one of the main causes of evil, and there is a promise here that will help to diminish some of that fear in the future. I have to say, this is not a prophecy of doom, although we would have to be naive to think that this world isn't approaching some major apocalyptic events in the near future, especially with climate change. What God and the angels are telling us is that they will help us to get through it all if we allow compassion and love to overcome our fears, and there will be miraculous events that will prove that God's intervention can help protect humanity. In the last part of the reverse, Maylor says, Ryan never chose an adventure so rare, and Ryan knows the future is so evident of a cancer in this human civilization. It's no lie humanity's progress is from an evil comprehension of the truth. God wants a religion of compassion to reverse lots of evil. Unless you choose distress in life, you'll help yourself and listen to our intervention and find the love that's up in heaven. I've talked before about all the corruption and evil in the world these days, and it has even gotten worse in the last year or so. It truly is beginning to become almost impossible to tell what the truth is with the different versions of the news and the corruption that come from many sides in politics. This is not only happening in the US and Canada, but the rest of the world as well. There are religious church groups supporting politicians who only have one goal in mind, and that is to make more money no matter who suffers because of it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you think about it for a while. There are many who care more about living a richer life now without any concern for the future, and easily accept the lies that say global warming isn't really happening. It seems we are slowly becoming less compassionate towards others who are suffering and in need. Even our ancient past is suppressed from us by mainstream science and media. All this contributes to a devolving civilization who is going in the opposite direction that it should be, and I believe this is the cancer that Maylor is talking about in this last part. It's beginning to become serious, people, and we need to have a different perception of reality and the truth if we want humanity to survive without having to go through mega pain and suffering. In closing, I'd like to play a short, full-featured video of Maylor that I recorded within a few weeks of him arriving. I wanted to show you this so you will clearly see him speak. In the last two presentations, I only used audio files of him. I'll be doing a full quantum reversal for this one in my next presentation, but I'll just show you the forward version for now. This completes this presentation. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to join us, you can come to theangelscrolls.com and click onto the forum link at the top, where we will be adding the newest presentations. Bye for now.